Hey, everybody, thanks for showing up. If you're on this video or Zoom or in the cloud or wherever you're at, I hope you get some value out of this. And, the thing that I want to do is I want to kind of do an ongoing bi-weekly meeting, if you will. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about trust. Trust is so powerful. And we begin to ask ourselves, why do we not trust the way we should trust when we're going through certain things or something new? If you think about trust, what's your relationship with your God? Now, my relationship with my God was connected to my father on this planet. And I didn't like him. And because that's what I thought a father figure was. So whenever they preached about or talked about a father figure, I instantly got my dad. And so if you think about some of the things that how you grew up, like in the spiritual atmosphere of your dinner table, what did you guys talk about? So I'm gonna talk about the spiritual part, the body, the mind, the family, society, and money. And we'll do a bi-weekly thing where you can come in and get some of these and find them on the recording. So the first one we want to talk about is the spiritual God, in my sense, is my relationship to Jesus Christ. That's who I had to overcome a lot of different things as far as like the relationship with my dad and the relationship with God. And think about somebody who has a relationship with their father and they're a young person and they get molested by their dad or they get physically beat by their dad. And he says, I'm doing this because I love you. And so now all of a sudden you grow up, you get older, you have a program inside of you that we're going to deal with. And that program is a belief system, how you grew up and how these in your subconscious part of your mind, the spiritual essence of who you are came into being. And so now all of a sudden, when you think of a father and you were molested by your father, all of a sudden you think of God as the same thing. And you got to overcome those different issues and stuff. And it's really difficult. So just think about how you grew up and some of the patterns that you have. What do you think, Stacy? We got Stacy here, and she's going to throw in her a lot of wisdom she has, but go ahead.
Well, this topic is interesting for me too, in regards to my own, relationship with my dad. And, like the processing part of, the correlation of what a father is supposed to be and what we receive as a father figure in our lives, those do run deep. They run deep to the core of who you are. And so I love that you're talking about this topic because I think everybody has a connection in some way of the explanation of how they relate to their own fathers and how they took those pains and wounds and even the good parts about it too and developed and shaped their own lives with it. I remember being at a church service where they brought a speaker in and they actually spoke about this topic, and it brought me to tears because I realized in that moment that, my dad, he was very unemotionally available for me. And I wouldn't necessarily say that he was, physically abusive in any way or means. There was a certain time frame that we're dealing with too, with how society, ran and operated in the mindsets of the collective people as well. But as I got older and I listened to this gentleman talk about how now we can take the definition of what the father is for us, and we have that within the relationship with Jesus.
Yes.
And that we can provide ourselves all the things that we needed that we didn't receive when we were younger, from a spiritual aspect, even from an emotional aspect, and kind of reframe how that relationship looks like for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And, there's a whole bunch of different things that are wrapped around that. Like if your dad or mom left you, abandonment issues. And so when you go and maybe you're a young convert or you were just going through life and all of a sudden, somebody told you about Jesus and you got saved and began to read the Bible about the Father and this and that and everything else. And they talk about and preached about the Father up on stage or whatever, and you're relating that my father left me. I haven't seen my father, and so I'm dealing with abandonment issues. And so what happens is when we get into a relationship, we self-sabotage. We bring up those old things because we push them away because we don't think it's going to last. And so that's a real powerful one to really understand and listen to and get some guidance for yourself and really begin to read the Word. That's what I would encourage you to do is read the Word. You know, and some people think, oh my gosh, you're preaching religion again and all this other stuff. No, I'm talking about Jesus Christ. I'm not talking about a man. I'm not talking about a building, a church. I'm talking about your relationship with your Father in heaven. And so very powerful stuff when you begin to break through those walls and you begin to allow him to come in, your life will change. Your life will literally change. But hey, we're running out of time. Just a few minutes here. The next topic that we got coming up is body. I want to talk about the body and how we relate to that. And so any last words there, Stacy?
No, there's a whole, like you said, there's a whole plethora of things to dive deeper into the relationship with your own physical father situation and the spiritual father as well. And so as coaches and as mentors, we can help assist people with moving through those belief systems and how to reframe things for you so that you can find some peace in all of it and really shift yourself out of those patterns that you've been living.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, hey, thanks everybody for showing up. You know, send this out to your friends, your family. If you got something out of it, that's great. And so thanks very much.